muchos los deben conocer, otros no, pero ya que estamos, presentamos. Philippe y Farah son de Meta. Farah, ella es creadora de contenido, maneja el Bugcrowd Program de Meta y bueno, influencer. Y Philippe es un researcher independiente que encontró bugs en Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, ahora Meta. So please welcome to the stage Farah and Philippe. Aplausos, gracias. Tenemos un vasito o dos. Preguntas. A ver. Bueno, ¿quién entendió la charla de Valentino? Levante la mano. Nadie la entendió, loco. Él solo. Bueno, Alexis. Aplauso para Alexis. Ahí está. No me compliqué más, ya está, muchachos. ¿Alguna otra pregunta se le ocurre a usted? ¿Qué es Command Injection? ¿A quién le preguntas? ¿A mí? Yo te contesto, pará. Me lo gano yo el premio, entonces.
Por un vaso de acá. Diferencias, vos estate atento a ver quién levanta la mano. Diferencia entre escalamiento horizontal y vertical. Le digo, estate atento y se van a mirar. Yo te vi. A ver. Ahí está, a ver.
El escalamiento vertical es un escalamiento de privilegios que se va hacia arriba tratando de buscar un usuario que tenga mucho más privilegios y el horizontal es hacia los lados tratando de identificar qué usuarios tienen más permisos que uno o los mismos.
¿De dónde sos? ¿De Medellín, Colombia? Esto es para tomar Fernet. No sé si probaste alguna vez Fernet. Bueno, te falta ahora el Fernet, pero por lo menos ya tenés el vaso. Un aplauso. A ver si tenemos alguna pregunta más. ¿Tenemos tiempo para alguna pregunta más? A ver. ¿Qué pregunta? ¿Hay que hacer tiempo? Pará que no tengo preguntas ya, casi. Es que están todas las hechas GPT, pero las quemé todas. ¿Se te ocurre alguna?
Una más complicada, ¿puede ser? Ponele, ¿no? Diferencias entre encoding, cifrado y hash. Ahí va.
Pero quédate para validar la respuesta, porque me comprometé.
Qué horrible. Bueno, el encoding es un proceso reversible. El cifrado necesita un secreto. Depende de un algoritmo que normalmente es público, pero el secreto que es compartido es necesario para pasar el texto cifrado a texto plano. Y el hash es un mecanismo irreversible de tomar un dato y pasarlo a un valor más chico, que se utiliza hash 256, en vez de 5, por ejemplo. Alguna cosa así.
Le damos un vaso de... Ahí está, le damos por válida.
The mouse is there right now.
I don't find it.
It is there.
Adri, ¿los ayudás un toque mientras yo sigo haciendo tiempo? Tienen que hacer... Bueno, a ver. ¿Alguna pregunta más? Vamos con una, que me nombren una herramienta para sacar subdominios. Ahí, nombrala, decila. ¿Cómo? Para una herramienta para sacar subdominios. Ah, no la escuchaba. Dale. Allá, están los dos juntos, dale. A más. Muy bien. Acá tenemos un vaso para el que dijo a más. Y no va más, porque tenemos el último mate. Subfinder, listo, se fue. Aplauso. ¿Pudimos resolver eso? pueden hackear Meta, pero no pueden poner una PPT. Aprovecho a hacer chiste que no me entiende. Re mal el tipo. Oh, eso lo cortamos, chicos.
Can't do that. I think I disclosed something.
¿Estamos? 2 minutos, pero viejo, no tengo más premio para... ¿Qué les prometo?
¿Cuántas rastas tiene Javo, por favor? Y contesta, se lleva 2 stickers.
Nada, ya sé, tenemos todo. Más mochilas. Por una mochila, a ver. Leo, no te vayas, ahí te da algo, Lean. ¿Tenés una pregunta, Leo, para hacerle a la audiencia que tenemos que hacer tiempo? Sobre la Ekoparty, sobre algo en general, ahí que respondan.
¿En dónde fue la tercera edición de la Ekoparty? ¿En qué lugar?
Opa, difícil, ¿eh? Por una mochila, nada más y nada menos. A ver. Con el Conex. A ver. ¿Dónde fue? ¿Dónde fue la tercera edición de la Ekoparty?
It's really
¿En el Bauen? ¿Sí? Vamos, fuerte el aplauso y le damos una mochila que, che, muy bien, muy bien. Era difícil. Muy bien, muy bien. ¿Qué más? ¿Seguimos bien? Ahí va, apareció por lo menos. ¿Apareció? ¿Listo? Bueno, ahora sí, aplauso para Philippe y para Farah.
Good afternoon, buenas tardes. My name is Philippe Harewood, and this is Farah Hawa. Today we will be presenting on Instagram User Token Impersonation. So, for the first half of the talk, I will be showing you how I got there, how the bug interacted, and for the second half of the talk, Farah will show how Meta patched it and any additional impact that was found. Next slide. So, a little bit about me. As explained earlier, I'm a security researcher, independent. I've been doing bug bounty with Meta for about the last decade, and I've been working closely with Meta to find vulnerabilities. So when I first started doing bug bounty, my initial basic way to do it was just to read documentation because it was a really good way to figure out how the product worked. So if the documentation stated to do a GET request, I would do a POST request. If the documentation said that permissions were necessary, I would remove the permissions and see what happened there. A next good thing for me over the years was to look for stale documentation, any kind of deprecated endpoints, because I realized that a lot of places in Meta, the endpoints were still active, and it was a good place to find golden nuggets for bug bounty hunting. So I'm just going to pass it on to Farah so she can tell you a little bit about herself.
Thank you for being here. I'm really happy to be here. And I'm Farah. I work as a security analyst for Meta in their bug bounty program. I am based in London. Before this, I worked at Bugcrowd. I was the team lead for the triage team that was based out of India and UAE. So I have been in the bug bounty world for quite some time now. I also like to create content about cybersecurity on YouTube, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, so follow me if you want. And I love helping people break into cybersecurity. I'm from a non-technical background, so made it this far, and I want to inspire other people to join as well. And Philippe, you can start off.
All right, so one of the places that I was reading in documentation for Facebook is in developer documentation. So Facebook has a developer documentation called developer.facebook.com. And in that documentation was this feature called Instagram API with Instagram login. So if you know Instagram and their API, there was various ways you can interact with the API. Originally, they used OAuth 1.0 for the legacy Instagram, and then after that, they used Instagram API with Facebook login. So they use Facebook 2.0 OAuth flow to log in your app. But that required you to have a connected Instagram account to your Facebook account. So Meta said, okay, we'll introduce a new option, which was Instagram API with Instagram login. So you're going to use the same OAuth 2.0 process to grant your permissions, request your token, so that you can use that token to get data. So in this case, we were using data to get the content, to get some messages, and to pull some metrics. So let's go through what that looks like under the hood. If you were to log in with Instagram, you would be presented with these options. So same way I said before about getting your data, your profile data, comments, content, pulling analytics, and in this case, I have this white hat app here that I've created for myself. So in developer documentation, as I said in developer.facebook.com, you can create a Facebook app. And under that Facebook app, there are different features you can add to that app. So one of the features you can add was Instagram API setup. And that allows you to create an Instagram app below your Facebook app. So that's what I did here. And for this particular case, I just asked for all the permissions so I can test any kind of endpoint in the Instagram API. So it's just a pretty basic flow, and this is going to kickstart an Instagram or 2.0 process, just like the Facebook 2.0 process. So let's show you how that looks like. So I made a little small diagram of what I can show you to be. So if you go and you click that and you've already logged into Instagram, they'll ask you, hey, do you want to continue sharing your information? And I've said, okay, yes. For my account, I'm going to do that. And that will carry you through our 2.0 process. So here's a little diagram that I've shown you. So on the left, we have the user browser. On the right, we have the Instagram API. And in the middle, we have our app handling the server-side code. So we log in with Instagram, and we send to a permission dialog. We want to know which permissions we want, and we click Allow. In that permission dialog has our redirect URI. If we accept it, it's sent to the redirect URI with our code and our state. If the code and state are correct, the server says, okay, we will exchange that and give you a token, and that completes the entire OAuth 2.0 process. So this chart that you're seeing here is the same chart you'd see for Facebook 2.0 as well. So the permission dialog here would probably be something like dialog OAuth and client ID is equal to whatever test ID you have. For this case, it would be my white hat app ID and your redirect URI. So any developer documentation as well, they told you that you can test your app out. So how do we test that in Facebook? They've allowed us to get a token generator for Meta. And here is where it works. So I've shown you the URL where you can get it. It's at developer.facebook.com/app/your app ID /Instagram business API setup. In here, I've delegated 3 users to test the Instagram API out. My forward test user, forward5456, and my personal private account, Philippe Harewood. If I was to click any of these generate access tokens, it's going to carry us through a similar flow as I described earlier. You get sent to your permission dialog. If it's correct, you get sent to your callback for the redirect. If the code is correct, you get exchanged for a token. So let's go back through that diagram so I can just make sure that we're all on the same page about that. So again, on our left, we have a user browser. On the right, we have the Instagram API. We started off the process generating the token, and we grant our permission dialog that I showed you in the earlier slide. Here, I'm actually showing you the permission dialog URL, which is Instagram/OAuth authorize, your client ID, and your redirect URI. If everything is set correct, it gets sent over to our callback. And our callback in this case for token generation is Instagram/token generator and the code that we have. Once the code and the state is correct, it's going to exchange this for us for an Instagram developer issued token. So this small little box that you see here is my Instagram token that has been generated in the developer dashboard. Same OAuth 2.0 process as Facebook. So I'm going to expand that for you. Here, obviously, it's a little redacted, is my Instagram token that I've created for this flow. If you came to my talk last year, I showed you how different Facebook tokens can work. So with Facebook, you have a user access token, a page access token, and these tokens are probably start with EAA and end with ZDZD. You have your client tokens, and then you have an application token. In this case, we just have an Instagram user token, and it just starts with IG. I'm just giving you an idea of how we can find the patterns for it. So let's pause here for a second. So we've understood that we have the OAuth 2.0 process. We understand how the token generation works for OAuth 2.0 process. But we need to figure out how to hack it. We know we can generate tokens for ourselves. Can we generate tokens for other apps that we do not control? And the answer was yes. I looked across in the various parts of Meta, and there's a certain part of Meta that asks for a certain type of login. Meta.com is where you have your Oculus devices and you can manage your account, you can check for customer support. In there, there's a login option that you can use. And if you click it, you're offered 3 options. Log in with Facebook, log in with Instagram, and continue with email. For the purpose of this presentation, I tested the Instagram login. And if you went to this route, you'd be presented with this authentication window. And it says log into your Meta with an Instagram account. And it already pre-filled my username, PHWD, for my Instagram account there. So I was wondering, I was like, okay, this seems similar to the previous OAuth flow. Can I work out something here to see how it works? So I followed the network request in my Chrome developer tools, and I just replaced some ideas in the flowchart to show you how that would work. So again, we have our flowchart again, but this time instead of generate token, we're logging in with Instagram, and we're going to our redirect. This time, it's not an authorization window, it's an authentication window. As you can see here with this URL, instead of Instagram/OAuth authorize, we have Instagram/OAuth OIDC. And for those familiar here, that's OpenID Connect. So it's doing an authentication versus an authorization. So when we're using the API, we're doing authorization, but here we're doing authentication because we're trying to log into Meta. We're not trying to get a token. So if we go through the flow again, generate, exchange our code for our state, and log into the process. What is very particular here is this ID, 2002 ending in 899. This is the ID for the Meta.com app to log in for that OIDC process. But for me, it seemed to behave the same as my Instagram app that I've created in the developer dashboard. So I wondered, could I just replace the ID and see what happens there, and will it generate a token? And successfully, the answer was yes. Just replace those URLs and went through the same flow. We start with our click to generate, but instead of going to an OAuth authorize, instead of going to the OAuth OIDC as in Meta.com, we went to OAuth authorize. Instead of using our ID for our developer app, we use Meta.com's production ID in there and use their redirect URI, which was the same redirect URI for the Instagram developer token. So if you were seeing that little peculiar part is that we didn't even need to know their redirect URI. They still use the same redirect URI for the other developer apps, which was developer.com Facebook/Instagram/the token generator. Once this was done, it actually generated a token for me. And I was like, okay, this is a token, so let's pause. Is this really my token? There has to be a way to figure it out. In Instagram API, what you can do as well is you can do a call called graph.instagram.com/me. And that will see who owns the token. And in this case, it was myself, PHWD. The ID there is not an Instagram ID. It's an Instagram scoped ID for the Meta.com app. So let's see what we have established here. We can create tokens, and we can create tokens for a first-party app. So I'm calling it a first-party because it's developed by Meta. And from my experience from hunting, when you try to create tokens for first-party apps, they have additional permissions added to them. So then your hunter brain starts to think, it's like, okay, what can I abuse with this token here? What can I get away with a first-party token to do on behalf of my user? And Farah will take you through that second-party process of what I was going through there.
All right, thank you. So far what we know from Philippe's journey is that he was able to generate a first-party access token for his own user. Username is PHWD. So now Philippe sends us a report with a video that did not load. It's okay. I can maybe try to walk you through what happened. So Philippe confirms that this user belongs to PHWD, the user access token, and he tries to get a comment ID of a comment that belongs to his other test user, that's PHWD456. So once he gets the comment ID, he tries to make this post request to add a reply under that comment that was made by the other user. But he makes that post request with user access token of PHWD that was confirmed before. And when he executes that post request, that reply is not added as PHWD. It's added as PHWD 456 that has no relation to the user access token. Why that happened, how that happened, we will get into that, but there are a few more impactful findings that Philippe and the Bug Bounty team collaborated, and they were able to find a lot more impact. So let's see what that is. So attack number 1, I sort of walked you through this already, but it's creating comments impersonating any Instagram user. So not just replies, actual comments impersonating any Instagram user. The only catch is the post needs to be made by them. So you find the FBID of an Instagram post, and then you execute this request, which is post, replace the media ID of whoever you want to impersonate, and /comments, then you add whatever comment you want, and this comment will be created with the identity of the user who created the post, not who has the access token. It's also possible to impersonate a user by replying to a comment they made, which is what I told you before. The reply, again, is created with the identity of the user who made the comment. It doesn't matter what post. Any comment, if someone has made it, you can add a reply to their own comment and impersonate them. This was the post request for that. The second impact was deleting any comment on Instagram. So you find the ID of any Instagram comment made by anyone, you execute the following request, just delete, replace the comment ID, and the comment is deleted. The third impact is to disable or enable comments for any Instagram post. So you find the ID of the Instagram post that you want to disable or enable comments, you execute this request, and just change the comment enable to false or true, depending on what you want to do, and it's going to disable or enable the comments. And the last one is to create unpublished media for any user. Now, this kind of media does not show up on the person's Instagram profile at all, but it's sort of unpublished, but it can lead to like a ban or an enforcement on that Instagram account if the content is violating our Instagram community guidelines. So yeah, again, you find the FBID of an Instagram user, you execute this request, which is just replace the user ID media, and you have the image that you want to make this person post, and it's going to be added as like an unpublished media. If you add the media type stories and try to publish a story, it will create a story ring on the profile, but when you view it, it's going to result in an error. From Meta, we audited the media publishing code. We did not actually find a way to create a post as someone else, but because there were a few checks on the creation ID, that was not bypassable. But now, wait a second, how did this all happen? Philippe generated a token for PHWD, and he's able to do all these things for other Instagram users. What is the root cause? So again, we did root cause analysis on this bug, and this is what we found. So normally, any Instagram OAuth access token associated with any app can only see and interact with its own Instagram data, as it should. For example, if I create just a regular third-party Instagram app going on developers.facebook.com, then it's not going to be able to load arbitrary Instagram users because we have a platform privacy policy which has rules, and it's going to deny on the rule. But if I log into a first-party Instagram app and I get an access token, this token is not restricted by the policy because we have one rule that's called allow if app has Instagram first-party privilege rule. If you remember, Philippe generated a first-party access token from meta.com, which is owned by Meta. So we had this rule that was allowing our access to arbitrary Instagram users. Another thing is when we were designing the Instagram Graph API, we assumed that these mutations are only going to be called on the assets of the requester. So otherwise, the privacy policy was supposed to deny. But we missed the fact that attackers can create access tokens for first-party apps, and that can load other people's objects. So we also had bugs on all these insecure mutations. Now talking about the insecure mutations, the next problem was most of these, they were using a viewer context, or we call it VC, which is basically you get the identity of the logged in user, and we use that to perform authorization checks. What was happening, so let's take an example. Attackers creating a comment as someone else. We have the post request, we have the media ID, and this will create a comment on the post of this. But what VC is it going to use? Turns out, yeah, the handler which handles this mutation, we load the media based on the ID provided in the Graph API call. So it's going to get the owner of the media, is going to use that ID for the commenter ID. So it basically generates a VC out of thin air and uses the user ID provided in the request and creates the comment with the wrong Instagram user. Now to fix this, what we did was we disabled exchanging the OAuth code for first-party access tokens. Now let's talk about the interesting stuff. We paid Philippe $50,000 for this. And I'll tell you a little bit about what we as a team were thinking when we decided to pay this. We compared it with past payouts of impersonation. So we really care about impersonation. If you're able to post as someone else or do something as someone else, that's a pretty big vulnerability. We had a past payout specifically for this bug where you could change the reel cover for anyone. And we paid that $50,000. So we took that a little bit into comparison. And we also considered the fact that reels are more visible on someone's profile. Comments are harder to come across. And there was also several impacts here. It was not just one thing. There was deleting comments, adding comment replies, disabling, enabling comments, all of that. So multiple impacts, and we decided for this one, $50,000 is also appropriate. Philippe also got a delay bonus of $2,500. This is something we do in our program. We pay up to 10% of the total bounty as delay bonus, and this percentage depends, but it's calculated from the day the researcher provided us the last response that we needed for triage and the final day that we made the payment. So yeah, pretty cool bounty. And yeah, that was all. Thank you. Also, just quick note before anything, our team is also hiring in London. So if you're interested, come speak to me. We have my manager here. We have a couple of other people in my team here. So come chat to us. Yeah, try that.
This one?
No. Yeah. Yes.
Hola, ¿alguien tiene una pregunta para hacer? En inglés, claramente, ¿no? Porque Spanish está muy complicado.
Hello, Farah. Hello, Philippe. Thank you for being here. First of all, thank you for your content. Actually, your secure code review content that helps me a lot. And my question goes by that. How your secure code review skills helps you to fix or to get into vulnerability in the code? And yeah, how it helps you.
So actually, the secure code review video that I actually made that video because I was learning that for the Meta interview. And then I ended up making a video out of how I learned that. So it does help me in my job a lot. Just if you look at, like, for example, the root cause analysis that we did, that code review skills help a lot with that. You kind of know where to start and like how the code works. And yeah, in general, I think the main thing it helps with is that root cause analysis of bug bounty reports that we receive.
¿Alguna otra pregunta? ¿Se anima alguna más? ¿Estamos ready? Ok, vamos con la última.
Gracias. Good night, good evening, right? Yeah. Thank you for being here. I watched your content for some time. And you mentioned earlier that you were hiring at Facebook, and I wanted to know what skill set do you guys want to seek for? It's about that. I work at a cybersecurity team in a public organization back in Brazil, but I don't know if I have the skill sets needed for the job.
Yes.
So as I said, firstly, code review. I think that's #1 skill that we really like to have in our team. Code review skills are really important. I would say also knowing how to interact with bug bounty researchers and talk to like them. Every bug bounty hunter is different, so you need to adapt. And I think for this specific job, I would also say incident response, because when we get something like a really big vulnerability like this one, we have to get the right teams involved and fix it very quickly, do the root cause analysis so they can fix it quickly. So incident response, code review, and communication are top skills, I would say.
Okay, just 1 minute more for the picture. I will be presenting this to you. So, lo último ahora es la fotito del regalo honorario, no sé cómo se dice, honorífico. Please. Come here. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. It's okay. Do you have the charge?
Yeah,
Bueno, ya estamos llegando al final, así que vamos a invitar a Ciro al escenario. Para los que están en el grupo de Telegram de Bugcrowd Argentina, hicimos una encuesta a ver quién había encontrado su primer bug en Bugcrowd en lo que fue de la eco del año pasado hasta ahora. Y bueno, te queremos felicitarte ahí por tu primer bug, así que darte ahí también un regalo de toda la organización, así que felicitaciones por eso y obviamente por más vulnerabilidades. Así que felicitaciones. No, este es el fake. Tengo una foto con él.
Quédense que sorteemos lo que nos quedó.
Hacemos birra.